after a long publicity tour and a lot of exposure to each other, they are genuinely friendly. They like each other. It should not show up in the fight.
No.
Question one, is round one a boxing match, or does Hatton want to fight right away?
No, what Ricky is doing is what the keys of victory, which we didn't have a chance to show to the audience, was for him to create anxiety and pressure on Manny, unlike anybody else has ever did before. But you have to watch Manny, because Manny is still the better puncher between the two, so he still must be a little careful.
So Hatton wants to apply pressure, but with care,
yes,
against Pacquiao's faster hands.
Yes. And I think he's doing just that.
Hard right hand by Pacquiao, trying to hit Hatton as he comes in. Key element of the game plan for Pacquiao, allow Hatton to come forward, catch him on the way in. A key element of the game plan for Hatton, get Pacquiao against the ropes, just like that.
Pacquiao has been more successful with the right than the left. That punch missed. Here's the right again landing.
Quick right hooks are landing for Pacquiao. The left hand is overshooting the target.
This fight is living up to the anxiety that the fans expected and intensity. It's going to be an important factor to see how Kitty Bayless handles this fight, because it could be exciting and it could end up being a very wrestling type match also.
Great right hand for Hatton, glazed across the face of Pacquiao.
Hatton's face is already red.
I thought Pacquiao landed the right hook.
I think Pacquiao's landed 3 significant right hooks already in the fight, Emmanuel. It's definitely been his best punch early. Straight jab lands for Pacquiao.
Which again shows that he's no longer a one-punch puncher.
Nope, follows the jab with a hook, comes back with another jab. There's the straight left hand, and he landed it right on Hatton's chin. And down goes Hatton after he swings and misses with a left hook. And that's a knockdown for Manny Pacquiao. Perfect right hand inside.
I don't know if Ricky's going to survive. I'm surprised to see him get hurt for shoulder. But he's not the type of a guy that goes out to survive. He's a fighter.
Hatton got a couple of extra seconds as Bayless tried to back Pacquiao off. Pacquiao was coming out of the neutral corner in a hurry. Lands another right hook.
Pacquiao's hands are so...
Pacquiao's hands are blindingly fast.
His hands are so fast that no opponent sees the punches coming.
Another perfect right hand for Pacquiao. Another right hook. Straight left hand. Pacquiao's landing at will. Hard left hand. Hatton has to hold on. Will Hatton make it out of the round? He's down for the second time. This is the brilliance of the Filipino slugger. A tsunami for Manny Pacquiao in round one. Here's the first knockdown, Emmanuel.
Right hook as he was coming in. Never saw it. And what's amazing, to see him land a punch and then slip a punch all at the same time shows unbelievable coordination.
The issue has always been
timing.
Whether Hatton could get to Pacquiao and avoid these kinds of clean punches.
CompuBox numbers in round one, utterly devastating to Pacquiao's chances. Pacquiao is 35 out of 62, 31 out of 52 power shots. Hatton only 8 out of 33. It was a Pacquiao storm in the first round.
And we have to remember now, although it's a different type of fight, that Pacquiao knocked Marquez down 3 times in the first round.
And then Marquez, a counterpuncher, began to solve him. Hatton is not a counterpuncher. Hard left hand by Hatton. Ricky has decided to fight fire with fire.
And what he's going to have to do in this case, sure, he just to try to smother this guy and get close. He's trying to punch at a certain distance. Pacquiao is actually just too sharp or accurate a puncher.
heard Floyd Mayweather saying to Hatton, you can't just jump all over him. You've got to move your head. You've got to feint. You've got to do the things we talked about in training camp. Hatton seemed to believe that he could physically overpower Pacquiao from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he knew in the beginning he was going to take the risk of getting caught, and he did. Because, you know, coming in, Pacquiao still is the puncher. The physical strength is still with Hatton, but the punch is still Pacquiao.
Hard left hand by Pacquiao. Stunned Hatton and knocked him back. Look at the brilliant accuracy of Manny Pacquiao. Landing with both right and left hands. Misses the right hook there.
What Ricky needs to do is to smother him. He cannot see to deal with those punches. He needs to push him. Just what he's doing there.
Good left hook inside by Hatton. And then he closed down Pacquiao's left side. Hard right hand again by Pacquiao. Ricky can't see the hook coming.
Behind the head. All right, okay.
Kenny Bayless warns Hatton for holding behind the head.
In Hatton's most famous victory over Costa-Zoo, he just smothered him and didn't allow him to get off. He can't seem to be able to get close enough to Pacquiao often enough to do that. And Pacquiao's hands are so quick.
That's the point. Costa-Zoo had about a quarter of the speed of Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao's blinding speed that sets him apart.
As well as his head movement. His head movement is just phenomenal. I don't think he's landed too much out of that exchange, but it's just his ability to punch, maintain balance, which he used to couldn't do. And his head movement is just too difficult for Hatton to time.
I think Pacquiao may have spent the first 2 minutes of this round thinking knockout and allowed himself to get a little wild. Now he goes back to more precision. Lands a hard body shot.
But Ricky isn't moving his head too much still. His head is still right there.
That is. Oh my gosh, what a straight left hand. And will Hatton make it up from this?
Can he beat the count?
Is that it? And Kenny Bayless says, no way. That is that. What an amazing knockout shot. That is the most spectacular one-punch shot of Manny Pacquiao's incredible career.
Any fighter.
Not sure if they're doing the right thing by moving Hatton around. I'm not a medical guy, but he's in very bad straight stick. Once Pacquiao stopped thinking knockout and went back to boxing, then he got the knockout.
He timed him just right. Timed with a perfect left-hand shot that he's coming in.
Landing 34 of his last 53 power shots. 64%.
And you know, Jim, the interesting thing is, before this fight tonight, he had shown this kind of power against the best featherweights, Barrera, Morales.
Take a look at this. Take a look at this.
This is a perfect time.
That was super slow motion.
Yeah, and he never saw timed him coming in.
It's the first time he's knocked out somebody like this since he was at 130 pounds.
And Hatton's head hit the canvas very hard.
He was knocked out as soon as the punch
Double
landed.
jeopardy. He was unconscious from the moment he caught that shot. Goes to the canvas in the proverbial heap. And boom. Out of our camera range at that angle, the head pounded against the canvas. Here's another look. So Floyd Mayweather made his statement on a podium this morning, saying, I'm back and I'm still the best. Manny Pacquiao makes his statement right here in the ring, knocking out Ricky Hatton.
And his trainer, Freddie Roach, had predicted it would not go past 3 rounds.
Carol Hatton is sitting down. Ray Hatton is standing up in the white shirt looking away at the left corner of your screen. That's the Hatton family area in the crowd. They're hoping that their son is going to be all right. That's Hatton's fiance, Jennifer, in the red dress. And you can see the emotion on her face at this very moment. There's Ricky. And as we look at Ricky, we'll go up to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, the end comes at 2 minutes, 59 seconds, round number 2. The winner by TKO victory. And now, the new IBO and Ring Magazine light welterweight champion of the world, and still, pound for pound, the best in the world, Manny Pacquiao.
Two men have gotten the best of Ricky Hatton in his 47-fight career. Both of them knocked him out. Floyd Mayweather in 10 rounds, Manny Pacquiao in 2. And all credit to Pacquiao's trainer, Freddie Roach, who was angry about the publicity, angry at everything that Hatton's trainer said about him, and said, my man will knock out Ricky Hatton within 3 rounds. He did it. 73 landed punches for Pacquiao out of 127 thrown. In other words, he practically couldn't miss. 18 out of 78 for Hatton, who was still scratching and sniffing and looking for some way to be in the fight at the moment when the end came. An amazing display of speed and skill.
But his punches were so accurate. He was punching, slipping, ducking, and punching. I don't recall ever seeing a fighter that sharp that was doing offense and defensive at the same time.
Let's go to Larry Merchant in the ring.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Jim. Congratulations, Manny. Were you surprised how this fight went?
I mean, I'm surprised that the fight is kind of easy, but for me, I consider the fight is hard because he can punch. He have a strong left hand.
All right, let's take a look at the knockout, and you describe, what were you thinking at the time? Did you know that one punch could finish him? Describe it.
That's what our strategy, the one punch, hook by hook, left hook and right hook. That's going to be the key of this fight.
All right, but going back into the first round, it was your right hook that was doing the damage.
Yeah. I mean, the first round is, I expected my right hook is going to be dangerous for him because he's open while he's coming forward and his hands is down. So
you think he was trying to avoid your left hand, which is usually your power hand?
That's right. But he's very surprised because I have a new techniques, the right hook.
Freddie, because you got the best training in the world. You got the best training.
Do you feel that a fighter who comes to you this way and tries to get to you, inevitably you're going to be able to impose your power on him?
Right here.
I mean, sir, like what I said, I'm always doing my job in the ring and do my best to make people happy. And like this fight, and you know, there's nothing personal for me. It's I'm just doing my job.
All right. Speaking of doing a job, let's go back to the first round and take a look at the knockdowns and describe them. The first knockdown.
Yeah, that's the right hook. We study that every day in the gym. We study that every day in the gym. If you see the 24/7, I mean, I throw a lot of hooks in the training. So that's why he's very surprised on that style.
Is this fight as satisfying to you as your victory over Oscar De La Hoya?
I mean, I'm satisfied. I mean, you know, nothing personal. I'm just doing my job, and I mean, I'm always trying my best in the ring, you know, to give more impression to the people.
All right, we all know that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is coming back. He's going to be fighting a fighter you had really tough fights with, Marquez. If he wins that fight, is that a fight you want, you and Mayweather?
Well, I can fight anybody, you know. It depends how's my promoter's negotiations are, and I'm just fighter and doing my job, training, and keep 100% in the fight.
All right, thank you very much again for a great fight.
Thank you, sir, and I hope everybody happy. Thank you very much to all of you guys who coming here tonight. Thank you.
Manny being Manny, and this is Freddie Roach being Freddie Roach. You predicted a third-round knockout. I don't think we're going to hold it against you that you were wrong by a round. Why did you make that prediction, and what did you see happening in this fight that was going to make it come true?
Well, every time Ricky throws his left hand, he pulls it back and cocks it, and he's wide open for a short right hook on the inside from a southpaw stance. And we worked on that every day in the gym, the timing shot, and it just worked beautiful.
Did you know after that first round that, okay, now it's going to happen anytime, it's going to be over, or did you think that that Hatton still had the strength to make it a longer fight?
No, I knew it was over because Ricky doesn't have the ability, it seems like, to adjust. He fights the same way over and over again. I've watched tapes of him for the last 2.5 months. I know him pretty well.
What do you think about the possibility of Manny fighting Mayweather should Mayweather beat Marquez in July?
I think it's a very good possibility. It's a fight that if the fans want to see it, I think everyone, it's a natural fight out there. The two best fighters in the world. I think it'd be a great fight.
Thank you very much, Freddie.
You.
Jim?
Thank you very much. And by the way, one of the stories which surrounds Manny Pacquiao, visible there, and that is that Freddie Roach's battle with Parkinson's ongoing. Is probably getting more difficult. That's one of the reasons Michael Moore has been brought in to help train Freddie, or help Freddie train Manny Pacquiao. But what an amazing marriage Pacquiao and Roach have forged, and it was visible in the way he used all of his techniques to beat Hatton here.
You know, this is Freddie Roach's signature fighter. You know, everybody has the one fighter that you're identified with. I've had 3 between Thomas Hearns and Lennox and now Klitschko, but the chemistry between them is just fantastic. And, you know, he worked with Mike Tyson, he worked with James Toney, but it was not the same. But Freddie Roach is really into this guy, and they're working on combinations, and everything that Freddie wants to teach him, he learns, he catches on to it. It's a great, great marriage, and this Manny Pacquiao is something else. I'm just thinking, since he landed here and he fought the guy from Ledwa, and since he came here, I mean, all of the great fights he's been in, I'm just thinking about him, Morales, Barrera, and the Marquez, and De La Hoya. And now it's fighting Ricky.
3 with Morales.
Legendary wars.
2 with Barrera. 2 with Marquez. Amazing career.
He is the pound-for-pound champion, as far as I'm concerned, because he's earned it the hard way from 122 pounds up to 140 pounds. He hasn't ducked anybody.
And here's the most amazing part to me, Emmanuel. His life is visible chaos. I mean, there are very few of us on the planet who will have to put up with as much in terms of responsibility and the confusion which surrounds him and the difficulties that he faces naturally from his upbringing and the country in which he lives than Manny Pacquiao. And he hit the big time about 5 or 6 years ago. And since that time, he has evolved from being essentially a double jab left cross fighter to a guy who can do anything. So good now with his right hand that you could probably tie his left hand behind his back, and he would still be tremendously difficult for a lot of people to beat. What a learning curve.
He can do everything. That's what makes him so complicated.
Yeah, and he's obviously very smart.
Yeah, he can do it. Feet, hands, uppercut, jab, body punches, head movement, footwork, everything. He's got it all.
All right, we had hoped that Larry Merchant was going to be able to get a brief word with Ricky Hatton, but what we've been told is that Hatton isn't feeling well enough to be interviewed by Larry and is going to go to the dressing room from there, most likely after a knockout like that. I assume he gets taken to the hospital and examined for any, subdural difficulty, any brain difficulty, which ought to be the case. Ricky's a brilliant and brave fighter. For his part, Emmanuel, he hired Floyd Mayweather ostensibly to become a better boxer and to achieve a broader range of skills. Wasn't that really unrealistic in retrospect?
Well, you can't change everything, especially when you're an over-aggressive fighter the way that he is. In both of his losses, he ran into punches, so to say. His big loss, he walked in, he just overly aggressively loses his balance, and his mind gets so much set on offense, he doesn't think about defense. But nevertheless, he's been a great, exciting fighter. He's been great for boxing and brought a lot of excitement here to Las Vegas.
Whether it's a rematch against Marquez, and a lot of people want to see that third fight, or it's a battle against Floyd Mayweather if Mayweather is able to beat Marquez in July. Will Pacquiao be the favorite against either guy, even though Mayweather, coming back from a year off, is demonstrably larger than Manny?
That's a great question. I think he would be against Marquez. I think against Floyd. I think Floyd still is a skillful, talented fighter that the public respects, and the physical size, I think, would be a factor. I think it would be like a toss-up. Maybe they may favor Floyd. But I don't know. Pacquiao's won the hearts of so many people that, hearts and emotions get to the way of betting sometimes and common sense. So I don't know.
All right, and as we talk about Manny Pacquiao and his prospects, you watch Ricky Hatton, vanquished hero 2000s, headed off to his dressing room. Emmanuel, thanks very much. Let's turn to Larry Merchant, who's now made it back from what was a really wild crowd in the ring, and your final thoughts on this brilliant performance by Pacquiao.
Very often you have no idea what you're going to get out of that boxing's box of chocolates when you open it up. But this was an occasion when many people thought, well, we were going to get some cherries with chocolate on it, and that the burden of proof was on Hatton to show that he could come forward and survive the early rounds to make it a long, hard fight, and he couldn't. Earlier we asked the question, can Manny Pacquiao live up to the flattery of being called this generation's Henry Armstrong? Once again, we got the answer.
Indeed. Pacquiao lives up to all the expectations and more. Bottom line, Manny Pacquiao ranks as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. Ricky Hatton was an applicant for that position. His application has now been tabled or sent to the circular file. Next up, Floyd Mayweather, the returning pound-for-pound #1, against Juan Manuel Marquez, who is the pound-for-pound #2, with Pacquiao waiting in the wings to see what happens. It's maybe just the beginning of an ongoing great story, and yet another brilliant performance to put into the time capsule for surely the most exciting fighter of this era, the knockout Filipino, Manny Pacquiao. Thanks very much for being with us on this HBO pay-per-view demonstration, or presentation, I should say. Pacquiao versus Hatton has been brought to you by MGM Grand, the city of entertainment in Las Vegas. Rockstar Energy Drink, party like a rock star. Tecate Beer, cerveza con character. Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. And also HBO pay-per-view, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. We'd also like to thank the following internet partners. Now for our entire crew, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada.